You know, and I know, and they know, 'cause we go all in. And I know, and they know, 'cause we go all in. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the newest edition of What You've Been Missing. You are now listening to the All Dressed Up podcast, episode 137. Shout out to the underdogs as we get busy in this bad boy. This is 137. Tell them who you are, man. The
Man,
ball.
it's your boy, Have Streams. I'm bossed out tonight, man, but it's your man, Have Streams, man. It's episode 137 of Live and, you know, pretty much straightforward, direct content. What's good, Sal? What's good, man? Shout out to Enough Set Podcast. Come on,
Shout out
bro.
to Enough Said Podcast in the building early and often. Look, man, I would be remiss if I told you or didn't say this is 5 years in the making as we continue this trek down this wonderful path of like talking to people and having this show. And this is different, man. This is different from anybody else and everybody else out there. Shout out to Jay Wright's boys from Villanova tearing it up. Shout
We're
out.
gonna talk. We're gonna talk Big Nick talk tonight.
We're going
Big
to,
Nick talk. Come on, all you New Yorkers, come on through. Bring out your Tims. Bring out your do rags. Bring out your Pelly jackets.
Let me put this up here early. Let me put this up here early, man. 301-857-1757 is the number if you want to come on and talk your ish.
The floor is yours. The time is now, man. We waited a lifetime for this moment.
We waited a lifetime for this moment. These Knicks fans, man. These Knicks fans are going crazy. You want to start off with that? Look, the NBA finals. Okay. Let me put this ticker on early. Okay. Save the number in your phone, guys. Again, 301-857-1757. Shout out to all of our fans in Sri Lanka that downloaded 70 episodes yesterday. Look, Knicks in 4.
Shout out to Sri Lanka.
Knicks in 4. Is this an all-time NBA sweep? All-time sweep in the NBA playoffs? Is this going to go down?
I mean, this shit right here got me really paying attention again to the NBA. A lot of people watch the NBA during the playoffs, but what the Knicks is doing is historic. You know, it's a historic franchise doing something that I've never seen a team do. I mean, they're beating everybody convincingly every game, whether or not they're down. If they go up 20, if they're down 10, they still win by 10. These dudes are sweeping everybody, man. And if they sweep these Wemby-led Spurs, and Wemby, man, Wemby, we're gonna talk about how Wemby's looking a little light in the load for
What do you
Wemby.
think it is? What do you think it is?
It's just that he's always had the advantage of being long. Pause. He's always had the advantage of length. And what Cat's doing to him, shout out to Cat, he's really showing him what physicality looks like. And it's good, healthy physicality at that. Like Cat's not out there hacking Wemby. He's not playing dirty. He's just playing good, hard defense. And
Right.
every time Cat gets the ball on offense, when Wemby steps out there and has to guard him at the 3-point line, he just blows by him off the first step. So it's looking real nasty. Like I don't see how the Spurs will win a game. I mean the matchups are crazy. I'm gonna let you go ahead and chime in, K Dizzle, because I can talk about this series for days. Because the matchups are crazy. Like the Knicks can have JB as phenomenal as Brunson's been playing. He can be on the bench. Cat can be on the bench, and they can get buckets from Shamet and McBride. You know they got players all around. Your boy. I'm always hard on him. What's his name? The one they gave up all the picks for.
Cat?
No, not Cat. Bridges. Mikal Bridges played great. Played crazy.
I think it's boiling down to one thing and one thing only: experience. It's really experience. And these boys, these Knicks have been built for it. They've been sweeping everybody. They take your heart early. I think they play heavy. They play with some weight and they make you work for it. And I think that's a part of it. They play with a different type of aggression that it just takes it out of you. And if you don't play to that level, you don't play to that type, They just play a different brand of ball, and they've been doing it all year. Let's talk about eight. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there.
But you say experience, and it's
Mhm.
up and down. It's all the way up to coaching. I mean, Mike Brown has gotten his ass whooped so many times near the playoffs and at the end of the regular seasons and tough
Mhm.
games. He actually showed you how you can come out at halftime
Yeah,
with a whole different game plan, and he outcoached your boy Mitch over there with the Spurs.
yeah,
And that's just experience. I know the guy came up under Popovich, and there's no shot at him.
yeah.
But you got to give a nod to Mike Brown. He's coaching his ass off.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got Game 3 coming tomorrow night, and unfortunately, they're going to have some, lack of better words, some distractions on Game 3. Supposedly, our president is supposed to show up there, which is not going to be good. Look, it's not going to
Mhm.
be good. It's just going to be a big distraction when you have
Welcome to New York City.
when you have the cheapest seat in the house being like $10,723. I saw that the cheapest seat in the house is $10,723. You should not be bombarded with that nonsense. Look, Harris says your boy LeBron is going to Golden State. Is he bandwagoning it again?
Why
That
not?
same one with Curry won last time.
Why not? He's at that point, man. Chase the chip.
Chase the chip.
However you want to get it. If Golden State were playing with Steph before you call the quits is the way out, hey, it's his last. It's probably his last decision.
It is probably his last decision.
Got to
I
make it
think
count.
did I say this last time? I was talking about this today about LeBron. I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Okay, we're not gonna go into LeBron tonight because LeBron is out. He's watching just like us the NBA playoffs.
But it's funny because every time there's a conversation about the NBA, LeBron comes up. No matter what, it's crazy.
Because it's time. It's been past time. It's been past time. I saw somebody say it took him the same amount of time to get to the points as the same amount of something like it took him the same amount of time to get the double the points that he had. So he's been playing at an elite level for this long. I just say he's been playing for a long time. I equated LeBron James to Jerry Rice today.
That's a good equation. But the funny part is, it's like now there's so many bests. There's best of everything. There's
Well,
a there's a best player of all time. There's the most clutch player of all time. There's a
right.
a person who had the best career
Hmm.
now of all time, and that's the new thing. What's good, Nebo? So
About
they
big.
say LeBron's had the best career now. So
So
they're taking the argument away from he's the best player of all time to
I
he's had the best career of all time.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on LeBron. I'm gonna tell you right now. The only reason I said I was talking to somebody and I said, LeBron James is Jerry Rice incarnate, right? We can all agree that Jerry Rice is one of the greatest receivers to ever play the game. However, Jerry Rice did play the game too long. He got to the point where he played it so long that when he finally figured out that he was no longer the number one receiver, that's when he decided to quit. But he amassed so many records, so many yards, and so many catches. It's going to be extremely difficult for somebody to beat that record.
Yeah, but to be
And
fair, Jerry Rice wasn't playing like LeBron's playing at 40. Jerry Rice was definitely hanging on at 40.
different game, different game.
But
Even though,
LeBron, but
again, even
LeBron's still
though
playing at a high level at 40, bro. We're not gonna go back and forth about LeBron.
we're not doing that. We're not.
Look, all Knicks fans, all New Yorkers, come on through, man. The platform is yours tonight because the time is now. All my friends who've been rocking with the Knicks, man, y'all are in the chip. Y'all are up 2 games heading to New
Far up there.
York, man. Before we slide to the next topic, how do they win a game? How does the Spurs win in New York? How does that happen?
It doesn't. It doesn't happen.
All right.
It doesn't happen. I think it's a sweep. I
It's a
honestly believe
sweep.
it's gonna be a sweep. Yeah, it's comparing football to I am comparing football to basketball, Chris.
Eh,
Look, I get it. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on here.
let's
Okay.
do it.
NFL. Now let me say, look, we're gonna get into this because Sal at 32 seconds of the podcast opening, Sal brought up this trade because Sal is the worst and best Eagles fan I ever know. Did the Miles Garrett trade steal AJ Brown's spotlight June 1st? Did it or did it not? And which trade was more impactful, right?
Did you write this question,
I
Kate?
did
Does
not write just literally. I did write the question, didn't
All
I?
right, so you wrote this
Go ahead,
question.
go ahead.
So what AJ Brown trade spotlight?
We've
What
been talking
AJ
about
Brown
AJ
trade?
Brown for a month, 2 months.
But this was already in the bag. We knew
We know
this. We
that.
talked about this happening 2 months ago. So how can you say that this stole AJ Brown's trade spot?
Did
Like
it or
when
did
we
it not
knew
steal the trades?
we knew he was going to New England. So my point is this: Miles Garrett going to LA stole everything in sports' spotlight. That's a huge
Agree.
trade.
I agree.
It's a huge trade because you're talking about putting a all-time player,
Mm-hmm.
a player that's going to go down in history of being one of the best all time at at their position,
Uh-huh.
on a Rams team that was probably one of the only teams I can say they were a Miles Garrett away from winning the Super Bowl.
Were they a Miles Garrett away from winning the Super
We'll
Bowl in
find out.
2026?
We'll
We'll
find
find
out,
out.
won't we?
Okay.
Because I think
All
they
right.
might be. I'm definitely going to say Vegas has the Rams favorite.
No, no. Garrett definitely more impactful. LA sacrificing to win now.
How's that?
Wow. Are
They
they
have to. When your quarterback is Matthew Stafford.
how old is he? 36?
Let's look up how old is Matthew
I don't know.
Stafford.
But Matthew Stafford's old. He's only got 2 more years. He's got Stetson Bennett and the other guy they just drafted in the first round to replace him. But
He's 38,
that's
man.
he's 38. Okay, he's 38. He's
So
38.
they got to
He
win
don't
now,
have
Sal. They got to win now.
yeah, they got to win now. Garrett definitely more impactful. LA sacrificing to win now. Are they really going to win now?
I think so. I mean, who can you say in the NFC is going to compete? The Eagles, we don't know what we're going to get yet. You know, we're talking about
They haven't beat the
the.
Eagles in like 3 seasons, 3 or 4
I'm
seasons.
with you. I'm with you. But all I'm saying is that on paper right now, I can't take the Eagles. I
Can't
don't feel the same way that I felt about your Eagles coming into last year. That I
I
felt
agree.
coming into last year, coming into this year, because it's a lot of question marks. You guys are coming in now without AJ Brown. Throwing the ball to him successfully or not, he's definitely an effective decoy when you got Barkley and you got Devontae Smith and you got Goddard and you got, those guys out there. So go ahead.
And Nebo says every team should risk it all to win Super Bowl. That's all that matters. I agree
Facts,
I
100%.
agree to a certain extent. Okay, if you mortgage the house and you know you're not going to be there in the next 3-4 years, you just leave that team into ruin for the next 5 years, i.e., the Cleveland Browns.
You have,
Cleveland Browns have been in ruin for what, 15, 20 years?
in my opinion, you've got to have your team. You have to have your fans believe that your team is at least 2 years away from Super Bowl contention. I think the goal for every owner is to have their fans believe that their team is about 2 years away at least from Super Bowl contention.
Now that you said that, what teams are not 2 years away from the Super Bowl contention? Let's just say NFCs. NFC, just say NFC. What teams are not 2 years away?
Arizona.
Okay.
Um, I'm not going to say any team in the NFC East.
Uh, oh, no, not just say NFC. Arizona's not there. New Orleans is not there. Okay, you want to keep going down the list. Carolina's not
Tampa
there.
Bay's not there.
Tampa Bay's not there. How many teams? 16 teams in the NFC, right? Is Minnesota there? 2 years away?
No,
Okay. Chicago 2 years away?
could be.
Maybe Seattle, Chicago Eagles not there yet. You think Chicago's 2 years away from the Super Bowl?
Could be. I mean, that's a team that, like, the owners are doing a great job to make me think I have something to root for. I mean, they got a quarterback that's playing electrifying right now. He's on the cover of Madden 2027. Shout out to the fingernail polish. On the cover of Madden 2027, man. What are you talking about?
Shout out to
Caleb Williams, the Washington D.C. native, has the Chicago slash Hampton or whatever they're gonna be Bears when they finish this little logistical move they got going on.
New York
But
Giants.
they could be. I wouldn't say any NFC East team doesn't have any fan thinking they can't be 2 years away from Super Bowl contention. Even, and Dre from Enough Said Podcast is going to kill me, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh God. All right.
They think they're in the contention every year.
Yeah, it's there every year. Nobody cares. Look, I have to bring this up, okay? Because the Mark Nebo, he's in here now. He said, "Look, you have to say this." Okay,
Big Detroit Lions fan. Big
yeah,
Lions fan.
big Detroit Lions fan. Shout out to Detroit Lions. They're not 2 years away. They're 7. Here's the truth of the matter. Okay, unpopular opinion says Mark Nebo. two people that should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. You ready?
Sure.
Bo Jackson, Michael Vick.
I agree.
I agree as well. Why do you agree with me? Why do you agree with Marky?
I
Anybody,
mean,
anybody that disagrees, please say it in the chat. If you disagree with that, saying Mike Vick and or Bo Jackson should not be in the Hall of Fame, say why. If you agree with it, say agree. That's all I need to know from there. Because why aren't they in the Hall of Fame?
well,
First,
whenever you break down Hall of Fame, you know, pretty much people that qualify for the Hall of Fame, you've got, you've got to play for a certain amount of time.
mm-hmm,
You've got to have tenure, and you've got to have, the statistics to back it up over that time.
mm-hmm,
So with Bo Jackson, you're going to talk about length of career, and
mm-hmm.
obviously he played some professional years in baseball.
One of the all-time athletes, one of the great
And
all-time athletes.
when you look at Bo Jackson, he's just one of those anomalies, right? Like he changed the game, and whenever you have a player that changes the game, where a whole league has to change how they play football
Mm-hmm.
because you're on the field, absolutely you're a Hall of Famer. There's no question to me. And then with Michael Vick, obviously there's politics behind his situation.
Correct.
The stats are there. Did he have the wins? No, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Famers didn't have the wins. We're not saying he's going out as the best quarterback that ever played the game, but he should
Yeah.
definitely be a Hall of Famer because he changed the position,
Yeah.
changed the entire way the quarterback was played.
I agree. I agree.
So easy decisions. I think that's a good question for Nebo to throw out there and participate tonight on the ADU podcast. Shout out to you, Nebo.
Shout out to Nebo.
And
Shout out
them bum ass Detroit Lions, man.
Look, years away, they're 5 years away. We'll figure out what's going on with
Their
them.
fans think they're 1 year away. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
their
tell
fans
you.
always think they're 1 year away. They were close. They were close. They had a great season and it just fell apart.
Are
Shout out
they a
to
Miles? Are they a Miles Garrett away? What teams were a Miles Garrett away?
what teams were a Miles Garrett away? Miles Garrett away?
Yeah, but I agree with you, Sal. Randall Cunningham changed the game before Vic, but Vic took it to a whole different level.
Yep. Agreed.
In my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed. All right. So let's move. We trying to move.
K Dizzle's
I'm
leading
leading
the
the
show
charge.
tonight, man. We're gonna follow K Dizzle's lead, man.
Well, everybody asked me about this daggone conversation.
Uh-oh.
Here's let's talk about this, okay? And we got the picture that's on the placard tonight. The Ruth picnic controversy. Okay, if you are living under a rock, okay, or you just watch reruns of Home and Garden Television, you may not have been aware that Jay-Z was at the Roots picnic over the weekend. Was it this weekend? It was this weekend, right?
Yeah, the last weekend.
Last weekend. I'm sorry, it was last weekend. And Drake dropped a trifecta of platinum plaques that got him the Michael Jackson award. I think more streams than Michael Jackson or something like that. He had a party doing it. Anyway,
Stay on point, KD. You
I'm
leading the
staying on
show.
point.
Come
I'm
on.
staying on point. Jay-Z came on and took shots at everybody who was taking shots at him. Okay.
Epic
Go down,
freestyle.
please, yeah, epic freestyle. How many? Can you go down the list of who he went after?
So let
Please.
me see if I can remember
Yeah.
to the best of my ability, right? He started out by going after Tory Lanez and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
He then continued to go at Kanye.
Yep.
Slight little nudge at Nicki Minaj. Then he went at Dame Dash,
Mm-hmm.
which was hilarious. I'm gonna talk about that too. And then he went at Drake pretty viciously. So, and then towards the end, he signed off with Questlove, saying he's mad at him for introducing him to Jaguar Wright, and he kind of laughed at that one. So even he couldn't finish without walking off without a jab at Jaguar.
Right.
But that's the funny part. If anybody watches the Art of Dialogue, shout out to the Art of Dialogue. Clip it, give us credit for giving them a shout out if you want. But
Uh-huh.
they had the Dame Dash interview, and Dame Dash I've never seen a person allegedly not talk to somebody for 20 years and still have beef with somebody and still think they know that person. Like he talks publicly like he knows the man Jay-Z still. And they say they haven't spoken in 20 years. But the funniest
Mhm.
part is he took so many shots at Jay's hair in this freestyle. he tried to take away from the content of what Jay was spitting. He was like, "Man, I can't take him serious, man. Look at this bush, man. This guy just had dreads, and now
Hmm.
he's got a whole fro out there." So Dame Dash tried to take the comedic route to go back at the disc, but Jay was definitely out of character here. I don't know if it's because of his age; he might not give as many, as many Fs as he used to,
Uh-huh.
or maybe he just felt like it was time to go ahead and address some shit.
I mean, we got that kind of money. I mean, you can do what you want. You can say what you want. And you can respond however you feel like you respond. Now, what I do say is this.
Do
Listen
say,
to me.
no
What
pun
I do say,
intended. What's good, Shanae?
what's the name? What I will say is this, okay? You can't take shots at one of the OGs and expect them to take it and to take it just lightly and just sit quietly in the night. No matter who you are or what you think you are.
Especially,
Now,
and especially not on the album that everybody's waiting for you to drop. And the first track that you're talking about, people, you're taking, the jig is up, and you're playing wordplay off of Jigga, and you're talking like he's not a boss, and basically like he's catching up to him, and he's got his masters, and it's getting funny. It's fun to see the old OG go at the young OG because Drake's
mhm,
kind of like a young OG now. Shit, he been rapping for about 15 years.
it's been 15 years.
But is this gonna be worth going to a battle with Drake? Is anybody checking for a Jay
Ain't-
Z Drake rap battle?
no, nobody's checking for that. We can leave that a lot. Look, you just take your L's and take your L's and keep rolling. I mean, Drake is ever since this album dropped, he's just been it's been whatever. I mean, he's got how many songs you said? He's got three in rotation to bang
No,
and something else.
he's probably got three in rotation on major platforms and on playlists, and then he's probably got about 10 songs out of the 40 or some odd that he dropped that actually, in my opinion, were good.
Okay.
About
All right.
10 to 12 songs out of the three albums.
Shout out to the billionaire Jay-Z still taking shots at people from his multi-million dollar yacht.
So what
Uh,
you think, man? Before you move on, what was the biggest? Who do you think he took the shot at the deepest, or what do you take from it? What
I
was the
take it
biggest diss in his freestyle that resonated for you?
what I take from it really is saying, hey, I'm one of the pioneers in the game and how you want to come at me, I'm gonna choose when and where I can come at you on my terms, and whether you respect it or not, I don't care. You gonna catch these hands regardless, and you can keep making your little your little tunes and your little games, but at the end of the day, the respect is mine and still yours to earn. So shout out to Jay-Z. Hey, Mama
What's
Happens in the
good?
building.
What's good, my dudes?
One thing I was totally not aware of, and we're going to talk about this really quick. Were you aware that there was a Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather exhibition fight planned?
I was
Were you aware
aware.
of that?
I was aware. I wasn't checking for it either, but I was aware. They were trying to find a nice spot to drop that fight and get paid.
Yeah. So really quick, Floyd Mayweather. I think he flew off into irrelevance for a very long time, fighting overseas and doing all other types of nonsense. But he's back in the graces of the United States. Newsweek, he made legal claims about a former close associate, auntie in the house.
Everybody
Everybody
in
in
the
the house.
building tonight.
Oh,
It's a family
it's a
reunion out
family
this motherfucker. I know
affair.
that's right.
Not good. So he had somebody, one of his ex-managers, running a years-long scheme that allegedly drained Mayweather's bank accounts, hijacked real estate deals, pawned off his jewelry, and even made his private jet disappear. How, Sway? How?
So allegedly, Floyd Mayweather has been in the business cahoots or relationship or the partnership with this guy. Obviously, the big, headline is it's like a Jewish guy who's really supposedly known for managing money. But also, this guy's known for running scams. He's been indicted before, allegedly for running some scam, stealing some money. So apparently, Floyd was just funneling a lot of his business and money through this guy. And
Mhm.
you can Google it. I don't even know his name, but some
We'd have
Jewish
to
some
yeah.
Jewish cat. And basically, he's got Floyd in shambles right now.
You sound like Kanye right now. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
He's Jewish.
And it's no shot, but it is what it is, right? That's what the headline was. So the thing about Floyd Mayweather was everybody tried to give him credit for his business acumen. You know, they try to say, hate him or love him, he was one of the smartest fighters in the business. And the way he moved and the way he picked his fights, he got paid. He got paid. He won fights. He picked fights at the right times. He
Agreed.
came out on
Agreed.
top, and he did it the best way that we probably seen any fighter do it without having a promoter take him for bad.
Agreed.
But it comes out now he's suing this guy for $175 million.
$1 million.
So if he's in this position, what they're probably saying about Floyd Mayweather being broke, it could possibly be true, or he could be headed that way because he might need a fight with Mike Tyson, and it's probably not going to hit now, but it could.
This story happens all too often. And what I've learned from anything, if you ever become famous and independently wealthy, you need an accountant for your accountant, and an accountant for your accountant's accountant. Because you really don't have the area or room to trust everything that one person is going to tell you.
Well,
So
how do you hire somebody with a past that's already been in trouble with, stealing money and being shady with their business? How do you hire that person? Do you hire that person because somebody gave him a reference and they said, nah, don't pay attention to that. This guy's this, this guy's that. Or was he cheap? Or was it at a lower rate than other people? Like, I don't know how you make that decision. If you
you
know,
make it because you think everything is right as rain. You got plenty of money. You're not looking at everything, and apparently this has been going on for years down the line. So it's just like somebody just siphoning money and paying attention. If you got more than enough about those dollars, thinking about more than enough, and so it just came to a halt where that more than enough start being a little less, not enough, and he really started seeing it. So um, you got to do better. If you've been super smart with your money so far, you got to be super smart with protecting your money at all times. Just like you do in the ring, protect yourself at all times. Mayweather, get your life together. If you get in the ring with Mike Tyson, I hope there's no clause in there and allows him to punch you straight in the face. Um, yeah, that's what I want to say on that. Look, I'm going to talk about this really quick because I have to. You have to. The Freedom 250 celebration. Okay, we're gonna stay apolitical on it. But what I will say, I did say more like the Free 12 picnic. Um, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this. Again, there's a lot of people that live under rocks. So a lot of people that just stop watching news totally. There was supposedly an event in Washington D.C. that had a lot of people coming out to perform, and then they decided not to perform because they found out it was politically motivated. Now there's nobody that performed. Is it still going on? F.
that's what I'm checking now. I don't think it is.
Okay. Okay. So it how do y'all feel about this? Okay, I know we
No,
all
it's still going on. June
it's still
12th,
going on June
June
12th.
12th through the 14th.
Okay, June 12th through the 14th. Who's still playing
Let's
outside of
see.
Kid Rock?
Let's see.
Who all gonna be there?
Well, the UFC is definitely going to be there.
The UFC is definitely going to be on the front lawn of the White House. I
Let's
can't
talk
believe I
about that. I mean, that's something in
can't believe
itself
I just
there.
said that. The UFC is going to have an octagon with men in underwear beating themselves up on the White House lawn. We don't talk about political stuff. I'm not talking about political stuff. I'm just talking about the optics of the White House um, having a UFC fight on the lawn of the White House. Okay, how do you feel about that, Hef? Because I'm speechless.
I'm not surprised, man. I can't say I'm speechless though, K Dizzle, because it's like America's a business. It's totally
Mhm.
a business, man. And does it look good to have the UFC on the lawn of the White House? No. Does it make sense? No. Does it get people paid and get people's pockets lined up? Of course it does.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, man. And I still can't see for sure if the concerts got canceled. It said
So,
Trump canceled them.
so I don't know if you guys are aware, and I say the part of the thing that we talked about, one of the things that it's on. in the actual title of this episode is Idiocracy was a historical documentary. So there was this movie called Idiocracy. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Terry Crews played the president. His name was President Camacho. Okay. And President Camacho made some decisions in the White House. He has a big gold chain. I don't know if y'all seen this.
I never even seen this
You never
movie.
seen it? Okay. If you haven't seen it, go watch the movie Idiocracy. Okay.
It's
It's
got your girl Maya Rudolph in
got
there from
Maya Rudolph
Saturday
in
Night Live.
there. We making decisions like, um, well, they have a famine going on, and the reason why there's a famine going on is because the president decided to, instead of spraying the crops with water, they sprayed it with an energy drink
Mm.
that was sold to the federal government that it would be better than the water. So, and so these kind of decisions, like the UFC being on the lawn, front White House lawn, reminded me of that movie. I don't agree with it, and I don't agree with anything we got going on right now. So I'm gonna leave that alone right there. But you did bring this up. It's the last thing up before we get into the thing. Why'd you bring this up? Why'd you ask this question? I put it in here
Which one, man? Which question
about
did
the
I
kids moving
ask
to
that made you ask?
the
Why did I ask?
okay. How has today's climate changed parenthood? Are there still parallels between today's parents and our parents growing up?
Yes, man. Yes, yes. Because as I continue to go through this journey and this lovely mission of fatherhood, I'm starting to look at, like, how moms handle things back when I was growing up as a kid,
Mhm.
and how I see moms handling things now, and I think it's a little bit different. And I
Mhm.
was sitting back, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing or it's worse, but I definitely see a difference in the way parents are parenting in 2026. And I'm throwing it out there because I've talked to you about it a million times, man.
Mhm.
But, like, what is the level of discipline that you should incur on these kids nowadays? And how do you have these conversations with, like when I saw, like, back in the day growing up, I saw my grandmother and other moms around the neighborhood and my mom not take no mess from no kid.
Mhm.
And it didn't come down to just beating your child, but it came down to just, like, always having a instructive type of, like, force to
Mhm.
where these kids are gonna listen. I just feel like these kids don't listen to nobody,
Way
man.
different. So you feel like they don't they're different in how they don't listen?
Yeah, I think my generation of parenting, parents different than your parents and my parents parenting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without like she said, well, Auntie said, way different. I think the difference is the patience that's involved. The patience that's involved is extremely different from generation to generation to generation. Now, the amount of discipline before that a kid receives now versus back then when we grew up was the the patience was this short, this tall.
Let's look at it this way. Let me ask the chat that's sticking with us live this question. What do you think came out of the older generation style of parenting? What negative came out from that? Like, in hindsight, the way that your parents and my parents handled things and the way they raised us, if we had to look at some of the negative sides, what do you think that generation kind of wish they didn't do, or wish they could have done differently because of some of the things you see now? Or can you correlate the two? Like,
Mm,
things that happened with our generation were a result of the way that we were raised.
what do you think they did that could have been different? You saying?
Yeah, like, do you think that there's anything negative that came out in our generation due to the way that we were raised and the way that our parents parented?
Yeah, we got beat. We got beat strong.
So
That's
did
aggressive.
those beatings give any type of negative connotation to our generation down the road? Like, do we have any type of, like, are we carrying those beatings? Did anything affect us from those beatings today? Is my question. To make to
Absolutely.
make us to make us not want to do the same type of style for our children.
Well, that's it. That's so that's tough because you have some parents that grew up during that generation that that leaned into that, then you have other parents that leaned directly away from it,
Hmm.
right? So it's all about how it was interpreted. And really, it is the level of parenting and communication style that really makes the difference when you're talking about that. See, mom said, got that butt
Right.
spanked. So there's two different things, right? There's being disciplined and being communicated why you're being disciplined, and then there's abuse. I mean, this is
Yeah, 100%.
let's keep it a buck. So not every parent that used that type of discipline um, used it in an effective manner, and that's just people in general. So I think you have a generation that kind of understood that that was happening and decided to go in the completely opposite direction. And some of that is good, and some of that is not so good because there's some things that require discipline um, in certain ways in order for some kids to learn those behaviors right. Now, here's Melinda. Back then, the kids had boundaries. Nowadays, the kids have zero boundaries. They do what they want when they want, and they even test the parents on even disciplining them. It's like their parents is raising their best friends. It's not parents raising the kids.
Mm,
Have says the generation now really don't do it. They do the countdown or timeout. These kids look at that and go straight back to what they were doing, being hard headed and knowing what they were doing. So
mm.
that's when we get into the conversation of does gentle parenting work? And I will be straight up honest with you. Some kids it does, some kids it doesn't. And that's based on the personality of the kid. Some stuff requires, again, some kids, if they didn't get spanked, you can tell as adults that they didn't get disciplined properly. But
And that's what I'm asking, and that's kind of the question that I was trying to pose. And it's
Mhm.
like, do these parental styles yield repercussions for when we grow up
Absolutely.
to make us
Absolutely.
again change the way? Like, let me not do what my mom and dad did because
Mhm.
this is how I felt. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And I want to also take this topic and make it not just about discipline, but let's talk about parental roles and I guess responsibilities from
Mhm.
now and back then too. Like, do our kids see us, just doing too much, or are we just too caught up in our careers now? Is that different than our parents and grandparents back in the day? I mean, they worked hard too.
Mhm.
You know, does it seem like our parents and grandparents worked harder or did more for kids than we do now?
No. No, you just talking what you're talking about is um what you're talking about is a couple different things. You're talking about the roles that you play within parenting relationships, right?
Right.
And you're talking about the idea of what it is, what children see as being a parent. Now, Nate says, my mom didn't beat me. I grew up as a decent person. She took the time to explain things to me and let me know that actions have consequences. And this is what I'm talking about when you say, for some people it's good, some other people it's not so good. It just depends on the parent themselves and if they can effectively communicate what the lesson is they're trying to teach the kid at that time, because
Okay.
grandparents nowadays work, they're not home raising kids like it used to be. I get what you're saying. So there comes there is a um
Perception.
there's a perception by the mother or the father figure because of what your role is as a parent and what you're supposed to do, and the perception that you have is based on what you grew up seeing and what you believe to be the right thing to do. So
Or also, I don't remember parents complaining as much when I was a kid. And maybe it's because I wasn't listening at
you
them
weren't listening.
complaining, and that's kind of what I was asking. Like, I just remember, people working and rolling their sleeves up and digging in and not really complaining as much with multiple kids and, going to work, probably not having the daycare set up appropriately. still fighting to get a paycheck and still raising their kids at a high level. So
Hmm.
where now it seems like, I don't want to say parents are a little bit more bougie, but you need to have a more larger support system.
I think the only difference between today and yesterday is the visibility.
What do you
Today
mean?
and yesterday is the visibility, because now that you have access, people are putting a lot of things on the internet, and you can see a lot of the things that you wouldn't be able or couldn't be able to see in other households. Is highlighting some of, some of the parenting bad behavior,
Mm.
and it's highlighting some of the good bad behaviors. But I just think it's visibility. And unfortunately, when you're talking about social media, the algorithm's going to feed you whatever's getting clicks and whatever's getting like. In normal instances, that is the bad behavior of possible bad parenting. I don't think there's been a huge shift. I think there has been some differences between, how kids are being disciplined versus how they aren't being disciplined. Um, because there's always been the same. The only difference is the terrible voices are louder because they all have a platform now. If that makes
So would you say, and that's a great point. Would you say overall we communicate with our children better than our parents and grandparents did?
I say so. I
Why do
believe
you why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of trial and error and experience, or do you think it's because of just education?
I think in more than anything, I think it's because we're making better decisions as parents. And we're understanding that we're learning better as parents to communicate better and to have
Is that from previously failed decisions?
no, and it's actually from therapy. It's part of what we're talking about today. It's actually from therapy. I think the newer, younger generations have gravitated more to therapy with helping deal with stuff internally that they haven't had ability to do with before. And so they're learning how to communicate on a better level in choosing to have better effective communication with their kids so that they can be expressive and not have some of the same issues with communicating that they had before. So I will give that 100%. It takes a village to raise a child. That was true back then, and it is true now.
I
110%.
agree. That's a good point.
110%. So look, that's a great conversation, great topic, and that's an unbelievable segue into the deep dive that we have cooking tonight. And I don't know if you've been on the rock or you didn't see it earlier, but this is the question. Mama, Auntie, Nay, Martin, everybody in there, Chris, this is a question that I had, and I thought it's deep down, it's a very good one. Okay. Has therapy made us better partners or just better at explaining why everything is someone else's fault? Has therapy made us better partners or just better at explaining why everything is someone else's fault? Let me put this up here because I know somebody's going to want to say something out loud. 301-857-1757 is the number you can call in and be a part of the conversation. Now, um, reason why I bring this up, okay, because we just had that conversation of your girl with the magna cum laude, the missing diploma, talking about therapy. Then we had licensed therapists coming in, and we understand how important therapy is as individuals and learning how to be better in understanding of who we are, but also be better communicators. Um, but it can be a two-edged sword, definitely a two-edged sword. So let me ask you this question now, and I put it in there because sometimes when people go to therapy, they use this term setting boundaries. Okay. Has setting boundaries sometimes become code for I get to opt out whenever this gets hard?
Mm. But for a person who's good at setting boundaries or who's experienced at setting boundaries, they're going to say no. They're going to say that's an excuse for or an obtuse argument for the person that doesn't
Hmm.
set boundaries, because it's like, okay, I'm not going to set boundaries because I don't want to feel like I'm shutting you out.
Mm.
But you're not necessarily shutting somebody out because you set boundaries. You're just letting them know how far you're willing to let them go in your space. And that's what the boundary is for. So I just think that the question's a great question. Has therapy made us better partners or just better at basically blaming other people? And, it's therapy. Therapy is the key word here. And it's like wherever your therapy is, if you get good therapy, of course it's going to help you.
Hmm.
I don't care who you are. or like where you come from, I think that in life you have to find ways to not suppress. You
Hmm.
can't carry on that much baggage emotionally. It's just not possible. You can't go through this life just carrying baggage and baggage. You got to drop it.
Hmm.
And where you drop that and where you get that feedback from and that foundation that you're trying to establish is going to be critical to whether or not it's going to be a waste of your time, if it's going to be detrimental to you and your partner or yourself because you could be getting advice from the wrong therapist or talking to the wrong friend. And Shanae says a good therapist doesn't allow you to make excuses for your actions. They help you self discover where your trauma came from and how
Hmm.
to heal from it. But keyword there's a good therapist. So
Key word, good therapist. So look, the rise of this therapy speak has created, like, for some people, like a new kind of like emotional armor, right? People surround them. People sound self-aware, but they're actually harder to reach. And so that's what I talk about. Does it help those people that dig in use it as a like a cop out? Does it really help people dig in? Because I know, look, sometimes we like are we classifying like normal relationship friction? Like, because here's
well
what happened.
give me an example. You throw the chat an example, K Dizzle, if you can.
All right, here. Classic normal relationship friction, right? Conflict, jealousy, neediness, right? These are normal behaviors that happen within a relationship. Are we saying those are, some people are using it, saying those things are red flags and reasons why they need to get out, right? Those are normal relationship frictions that happen between people because learning working through their emotions. And those aren't, even though those aren't red flags, sometimes they're just humans being human with somebody. Somebody will use that as saying, okay, well, my therapist said I need to do this, so I need to do that.
Well,
Right.
let's throw this out there real quick. What if one of your boundaries was like, I want my privacy respected in my relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to, anything that I have that's personal to me, my phone, my iPad, my laptop, my journal, I just like to keep it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a boundary. So crossing that boundary would be like you taking my phone, accessing my phone, going through my phone,
Right.
and leaving it there because you know what? It was there at the time. To
Mm-hmm.
you, it might not have been that serious, but to me, you crossed the boundary because I might have had a past experience that was traumatic from a person going through my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, can you still set that boundary like you're saying? But are you, if you don't set the boundary, or if you set that boundary, are you shutting your partner out? Like I think you can set that boundary and still have the trust in a relationship, or you should still be able to expect the trust in the relationship, but still say, I don't want you going through my phone, but still respect me to know that there's nothing for you to worry about and going to my phone. Now, this is an example that I'm just throwing out there to
Great
you.
example. That's a great example. So, how do you, ladies in the chat, how would you take that example if you have been in a prior relationship that you've had trust issues with that person, right? That you were in a relationship that somebody cheated on you, and the next relationship you're in gives this boundary, says, my journal, my phone, this is all me. I don't want you going through that stuff. How are you going to deal with that? How would you deal with that, Al?
I mean, you gotta ask yourself a question: do you trust that person? And if you trust that person, if that's a boundary for them from maybe their past, I would say I have to respect it. I'd have to respect it if I trusted that person. And if I didn't, then there'd be no reason to have to think it any further. Because now I'm like, well, there's a reason why they don't want me going through their phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, one door opens and leads to the next, in my opinion. But, it's like it's still a double edged sword too, because does it mean that you can't trust that person? Or can you even ask? Do you have the right to say why do you feel that way? Like
Mm-hmm.
what happened to you to make you not want to make you want to set that boundary?
Mm-hmm.
I probably asked that question to dig a little deeper. Like, what made you feel like you had to set that boundary? Like, what happened to you?
Well, yeah, that's coming through a situation of communication. I think part of that is, if you, like Shanae said, if you're going through some good therapy, you do have a good therapist that is working through you and with you with that stuff. Then you can be able to communicate that. Shanae says, I think you have to ask yourself, why do you feel the need to go through your partner's? Why do you feel like you got to get the need to go through their stuff? That's a great
Obviously,
question.
that's the
Well,
obvious sentiment if you think about it. Because if you have that urge, it's like that boundary that's going to affect you is going to be the one that is already affecting you. You know what
mhm.
I'm saying? That's the boundary that's going to make you probably say, "Well, why has it got to be like that?" Because if it's a boundary that doesn't have anything to do with how you feel, you're not going to really care about it.
Mm.
Melinda comes through with it. It's all based on trust. No need to be in a relationship if you're still holding on to past relationships. Each relationship is different, regardless of the experience that you had and been through.
I agree with that. The unfortunate part is the emotional baggage is always something you're going to carry into the next relationship, whether you see it or you don't see it. And I think whether you see it or reveal it, or you don't. Uh, that's just the truth of the matter of the case of it, because there's positives on it, when you're talking about therapy, because before therapy culture, people just stayed miserable abusive situations and called it commitment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
but you
so,
also got a lot of people that's hiding behind this badge of therapy too. Like you just can't say that you're in the right path because you're in therapy. I think it really comes down to where you're getting your therapy from.
yeah.
Like you can be in therapy all you want, but if you ain't getting the right therapy, you just setting yourself back.
What you saying? Emotional baggage. Do you need to be by yourself? No. Need to carry that into a whole nother relationship. It's not going to work. You're
Mm,
right. And one of the things that therapy does have is examine those patterns, or that emotional baggage, and helps you work through it. So, that's the positive to it. The problem is, you can use it either one or two ways. You can use it as, the bridge, or you can use it as, the border. A lot of adults are damaged kids who have not healed, and we are in a rush to play house and be in relationships when we have not healed, and we don't know what a healthy relationship looks like.
mm.
That is very, very true. Very, very true. Um, I think with when you were talking about, therapy, and we using it, work on yourself. Work on yourself first. Emotional literacy. Emotional literacy is huge. Is paramount. Okay. The problem isn't. I say this problem isn't therapy. It's therapy without the adequate
Intention.
application. Right. If you always go into therapy with the intention, like you said, of using it to solidify your bad behaviors or your bad ideas, that's one thing. That's when you're using it, you're weaponizing what you're
It's
hearing good people say, and you weaponize it against the people that you want to, versus actually applying it to yourself, living it, and putting it into your relationship.
it's like going to the gym. How many people do you know that go to the gym and you might not get the same results that the next person is going to the gym? Because when you go to the gym, you stop at the vending machine and get fruit snacks, and you get a Gatorade, you know. And the
Go-
next day, I came with his pre-workout and just jump right on the treadmill.
You going on pizza night only. You going
Yeah,
on pizza night
just to
only.
say you check the box. So it's the same thing. Like you can check the box and say you're in therapy.
Yeah, you going in to do the IG post so you can come out and talk about it. You talk about it versus actually putting the reps in. And that's really what it's about, putting the reps in. So therapy is always a positive as long as you are actually applying it and working through it. And you can tell the difference between somebody who wants to actually work through it and see the internal change versus those who want to use it, and weaponize it for their own, I, for their own advantage, to say
Well,
that I was right all along, or for their own direction.
it comes down to how do you adapt. what do we do as an adult to adapt? We keep on hanging up everything on what happened to us as kids. Shanae says a lot of adults, quote in quotes, are damaged kids. They could have been damaged adults. It doesn't mean that they had to
Damn, yeah,
necessarily been a damn. I'm not
yeah,
disagreeing though. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying there's a variety of it. So what I'm trying to get to is like, okay, if you're in that position, let's say you did rush into a relationship and play house, right?
Mhm.
And you don't necessarily have the proper healing that you should have gotten, but you're now in a relationship and you've got kids and you're, putting together everything and you're playing house, as they say, and you don't know necessarily what a healthy relationship looks like. Where do you find it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? There has to be a solution to it. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I was damaged and I rushed into the situation." So it comes down to finding, I guess, the right outlets and the wanting to make those changes first.
Well, you find the right, yeah, you find avenues of help. You find therapists that can help you work through it and work through it together. What I will say too is this: don't use your don't use that as an excuse to not get yourself into a relationship. There's a level of healing that you can do on your own, but there's also a level of healing that you can gain through a relationship or through a partnership. Um, being in a relationship is just like with anything. You don't know, you have an idea from the experiences you had, but I would never tell you to shut yourself off completely from another experience or another relationship just because you don't feel like you're all the way completely right.
Mm,
That's the same way that, some people say, well, I'm not ready for marriage. You're never ready for marriage. The same way you're never ready for parenthood. You're never ready for it. The only difference is one, you get to choose. You get to choose on both ends. You make the
mm.
decision. You make the decision beforehand.
So you say you accept the carry on as far as the baggage. You can bring a carry on.
You can look if your love is strong enough, deep enough with that person. If you've put the time and work in and say, okay, I know this is the one for me, and you know that you'll walk through hell and back to make sure it works. A lot of people do it. Walk through hell and back to make sure it works. Now, keep in mind what I said at the beginning. You're sure you don't make that decision lightly or weighty. You don't walk into it. You know, if there's a lingering idea or lingering fact of concern, you don't walk into it just crazy. And some people have that issue. Some people just are relationship jumpers. They cannot be by themselves. I know people that feel like they cannot not be in a relationship. They have to have somebody all the time. That's something internal.
Yeah.
That's definitely something internal that you got to work on. Sometimes that requires, yeah, there's some self work, some self love, and some ability for me to really figure out what makes me tick before I put myself in that other position again. Some people just don't want to be alone. They don't know how to be alone or afraid to. But look, the moral of the story is I think therapy is a good thing, as long as the people that are using therapy for all the right reasons are actually applying it to their lives versus again weaponizing it um, to tell their narrative or speak their narrative. There are a lot of people that go on there, get on the algorithm and say, "Oh, this was speaking to me." It was speaking to me, but you weren't listening. it was talking. It's some good conversation, but you didn't apply anything to it. And we know a lot of people that share some stuff. You be like, God dog it. I can't believe they did that.
Mm.
They the first ones. But it's just true. Work on yourself first. A lot of adults are damaged kids who have not healed, and we're in a rush to play house and be in relationships when we have not healed and don't know what a healthy relationship looks like.
It's layers. It's a lot of layers to it.
It's a hell of a lot of layers to it.
And great points, man, by the chat, man. Shout out to the chat tonight with a lot of great comments, man, contributing to this live show. Again, episode 137. 137 episodes of live content, man. I'm proud of what we do, K Dizzle. I do want to announce, man, that the Climbback series is recording right now as we speak. We got some episodes on the way. Keep an eye out for that. I didn't want to announce it, but I think I just hired a social media content manager type cat that's gonna be
I
that's gonna be
do.
you know helping some of my stuff come out. So keep an eye out for Half Streams Media, man. And yeah, man.
Tell them where they can find you, my guy.
Again, Half Streams Media on all platforms. Email me at halfstreams@gmail.com if you want to collaborate, if you have any suggestions, if you want to get on the Climb Back series, and definitely shoot us an email at alldresseduppodcast@gmail.com. And always come through, man. Be a part of our community. We are growing each and every episode,
Mhm.
each and every week, man. And where can we find you, K Dizzle DC?
K Dizzle DC, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. You find me on the ADU podcast every other Sunday. You'll find me on the Roots, Boots, and Wings. We've been doing this for 5 years, and we're gonna keep on doing it, man. I love it. I love it. It don't feel like it. It definitely don't feel like it. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain. We've grown as human beings doing this, and hopefully, we've been given some positive, some good information, and just really having conversations that need to be had. Like tonight, you guys came in hot and heavy with the good information and the good points, and we appreciate that every step of the way. So look, you know where we are. We are let everybody know where they are so we can have some more people on. We can come on and always talk your ish live or through the chat. We take you either way.
Look, man, Spotify, iTunes, we are reaching where'd you say?
Sri Lanka,
Sri
man.
Lanka,
That's
man.
crazy
We,
word.
we out here. We love you, Sri Lanka. Keep on checking us out because we're gonna keep delivering, man. And as far as we might try for an episode next week, I wanted to holler at you, KD,
Okay.
because I'm turning 40 this month, man.
Ooh, God.
Turning a big 4-0. So I'm probably going out of town the third Sunday around that time. So we'll talk
Okay.
about the next episode.
Yeah, shout out to Germany, Hong Kong, Canada, Vietnam, Singapore, Spain, of course, the US, India, Argentina, Australia, UK, Malaysia, France, Indonesia, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey and Sri Lanka. Look, obviously we're doing something. Somebody hearing what they need to hear, saying what they need to say. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all probably next week. Shout out to the underdogs. We love y'all.
You know, and I know, and they know, cause we know, we go all in, you know, and I know, they know.